all the pepper. I'm going to show you how I make a really simple tri-tip that I actually learned how to make at Monty's Deli. That was my first job. I worked in the deli, and I learned how they made their tri-tip. That was really popular and famous. The tri-tip comes from the cut of meat called the brisket, and you can't really find it anyplace else except California. Maybe it's kind of become a little bit more popular at other places, but when you go out of state, they're like, tri-tip, we don't have that. What is that? It's basically the cut of the brisket. And this has a little bit of a membrane here that I'm going to just get rid of because it makes it hard to kind of score it and get rid of it because it makes it hard to cut later. And this one was actually really trimmed a little bit too much for me in my taste. I like to leave a little bit of fat on because that's what keeps your meat moist. This is really tough membrane. I don't even want it on there. It just makes the meat gross and tough, so I'll get rid of that. See how hard it is to cut. Can you imagine trying to cut it as you slice your tri-tip? Okay, so that's gone. Okay, Devin, you gotta be quiet. And there's also one on this side, and that's not so much a big deal. It's gonna be fine. If you want to remove it, you can, but you're gonna be removing all this other fat that I kind of need on there. So what I'm gonna do is, Devin, why don't you go in the living room? Sorry, I have my grandson for the weekend, which is wonderful, but he's really noisy. I am using liquid smoke. This is the big secret that people don't realize this is what I do. I don't have time to soak chips and put them in a smoker and get that flavor, and neither did we at Monty's. So this is what Monty's did, people. They used a liquid hickory smoke. And I used to have to dilute it over there. I don't dilute it here because I don't need to make mine stretch as much as they made theirs. But it does say to dilute with water. If you don't really like a strong hickory taste, then don't do it straight. Dilute it. I'm going to just put a little bit on each side of my tri-tip. Kind of give it a little taste here of this liquid hickory smoke. You know, if you want to go to all the trouble to buy hickory chips or coals or whatever they have nowadays, do all that, but you don't need to, because this tri-tip can also be made in the oven, which is typically how I make it. I just I'm doing it on the barbecue this year because it's 103 degrees out here. So the next step after you put that smoke on it, liquid smoke, is to liberally, and I mean liberally, put on garlic powder, salt, and again, I like kosher and sea salt. I don't like the metallic face of a certain name brand. And get every side, every nook and cranny of this tri-tip, because this is going to sit for close to 20 hours in my fridge overnight as I basically just let this hickory smoke get deep inside here and give me a really great flavor to this tri-tip. Some more salt and some more salt. Don't forget the part of the tri-tip and some more salt. And now I have some ground black pepper. But I buy it in bulk at Winco's, it's cheaper, and I just like the way it's ground. It's not so fine that you can't enjoy the flavor of it. So that is basically all you do. You pat that baby down, and you're going to let him have a good rest for up to 24 hours, I could say you do that. We used to do these way ahead of time at the deli because Fridays were our busy days, of course, payday. So that is what your tri-tip should look like once it's marinated and seasoned with just salt. Again, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. That's it. And the liquid hickory smoke. I am actually glad we have one that has a lot of fat on it. This tri-tip here was very lean. So this one has a little bit of fat on it. And I'm going to show you, this was my job at the deli, was to clean these things. So I kind of got really proficient at doing them. Unfortunately, I don't have super good knives at home, like I should, being the person that loves to cook. I remember one time, my first time cleaning this tri-tip, I got in trouble for taking off too much fat. I wasn't, really familiar with cooking meats or why it was important to have a little bit of fat on. But you do want to leave, like I said, a little layer of this fat on, because as you either cook it in the oven or you barbecue it, this fat will keep your meat moist and it will allow it to not dry out. People barbecue, some people tend to have a really dry meat, maybe because they're not using the higher fat meat. And that is what your, that's like a pound of fat, tri-tip should look like. I don't like this little bubble here. I'm going to get it out. It's like a little blood blister. I know that sounds really gross, but I don't, it's part of eating beef if you're a beef eater. Okay, so that's gone. And again, you're going to sprinkle on some of this. I had already washed these with water and patted them dry. And I'm out of breath today, and I don't know why, because I've just been being a lazy bum. I think it's the air quality sucks around here, so let's just jack it up some more with some charcoal when we barbecue. And fireworks. And I'm really excited because my kids are all going to be here, my sister's going to be here, various other boyfriend type people will be here.
Just one?
So, oh yeah, just one. So again, liberally with this garlic powder. Salt. This is so easy because you don't have to go and mix any kind of marinade together. It's just salt, pepper, garlic, and your smoke. If you like the mesquite, do the mesquite liquid smoke. I just kind of tend to prefer the hickory a lot more. Don't forget the tri part of the tip, which is, which is why it's called a tri-tip. It has 3 sides. Oh, you didn't know that, huh? Learn something new. Some more pepper here on this one. And pat it in. You can hear my grandson in the background having an argument with his aunt. And there we go. We're going to put these in the fridge, and we're going to cover them with plastic wrap and just let them sit until we're ready to barbecue, and tomorrow you'll get to see the finished product as we stuff our faces.